Good morning, students. Today we are starting with the rules of accounting. So, these rules of accounting, when we talk about account, is based on certain rules, and why it is based on certain rules to bring uniformity in different organizations, so that all different organizations can work under same pattern. So, there are certain rules so that we can have that uniformity in each and every organization. So, as we have discussed earlier also, that every transaction that is taking place in business need to be recorded in the accounts. So, these transactions are recorded in dual entry form, which means whatever amount is debited, same need to be credited. So ultimately we can say that our accounts is based on two terms, and these terms are debit and credit. These terms are debit and credit. So this debit and credit can take place with following these rules that we are going to discuss today. These rules are broadly categorized: traditional approach and modern approach. That means we have two approaches with which we can solve these equations, with which we can post our accounts into proper format. So these approaches are traditional approach and modern approach. Traditional approach is also termed as British approach, and modern approach is also called as American approach. Now all these approaches we'll discuss one by one. So let's start with traditional approach first. Traditional approach have categorized the whole accounts into two parts: personal account and impersonal account. When we talk about personal account, name itself suggests that accounting which is done keeping in mind persons. That is, the accounts that is done for individuals is called as personal account. Whereas impersonal account, which is not done for individuals. So impersonal is further categorized into two: real account and nominal account. Now we can say that broadly we have three accounts: personal account, real account and nominal account. These are broadly discussed. Now when we talk about these three, that is personal, real and nominal. So let's discuss real first. When we talk about real, real means all tangible assets that we can see and touch. For example, cash, stock, machinery, building, furniture, land, fixture, etc. These all things that we can see and touch are considered as real. And real account ka rule says debit what comes in and credit what goes out. Whatever is coming into the business need to be debited, and whatever is going out from the business has to be credited. For example, you purchased a building. Now when you purchased a building, since you purchased building is coming to you, it need to be debited. But when you purchased that building, you definitely paid some cash for that. So since cash is going out, it need to be credited. So that's what real account says. Now move towards personal account. Personal account, as we discussed, relating to individuals. Now, for we people, we all are human beings and we all are individuals. But account says there are three types of persons. As you can see here, we have marked natural person, artificial person, and representative. Natural person, which is created by nature. We human beings. Ram, Sham, Sita, Gita, Mita, whatever. These all are natural persons who are created through nature. The second type of person is artificial person. This is also called as artificial person is also called as legal person. And why it is legal person? Because it is created by law. And what this artificial person can do? This artificial person can enter into a contract just like a natural person. Here we have taken an example of your school, that is GRD Academy, a company that is known by everyone almost, that is Reliance Industries, and the last one is State Bank of India, that is SBI. These all are the terms that are known by you all. Basically what happens? GRD Academy, when you write paper for GRD Academy. When you take admission, you do take admission in GRD Academy. Same like when you purchase Reliance phone, you do not get name of Mukesh Ambani or Dhirubhai Ambani. You get the phone in the name of Reliance itself. So these all are artificial persons, that is legal persons, because they are dealing in their own name. They can enter into contract, they can sell goods, they can purchase goods, they can provide services, and they can earn money. So all because of this, they are known to be artificial or legal person. The third type of person that we have is representative. Now when we talk about representative who represents someone else. Since business is a big term, so business definitely is dealing with so many individuals or business. Now when business is purchasing goods from so many business organizations, it definitely have to remember them, because we have purchased goods on credit. But is it possible to remember thousands name? No. So we have given them a name called creditor. That means all those from whom we have purchased goods on credit and to whom we have make payment. At the same time, we might have sold goods to 10,000 persons, 10,000 individuals. We are likely to receive money from them. But just like creditor, we cannot remember their names too. So we have given them a term called debtor. That means whomsoever we have sold goods on credit and will receive money from them. In the same way, sometimes what happen that for certain services that we have to take in future, but we already have paid the money in advance. Now since we have paid this money in advance to someone, that person is prepaid. This is also will remember all those persons in the same name, that is prepaid. All those whom we have given advance payment, from whom we are likely to receive certain services in future. They can be considered as prepaid. What if we have taken the services but have not yet paid? That is outstanding. So these all are the terms used for representatives. Now these terms say rule is debit the receiver and credit the giver. Rule says debit the receiver and credit the giver. In the previous example, we discussed that we purchased a building for cash. Let's discuss the term in different manner. We purchased building, but we did not had cash to be paid. So what happened? We purchased building. Definitely building came to us. So building has to be debited because real came into the business. But we could not pay the payment yet. But it is definitely to be paid. And since it is to be paid, so the person that is from whom we have purchased that building will become our creditor, and he will has to be credited. In the same way, if we would have sold the building but have not received cash, then what would have been the situation? We would have sold the building, so building is going out, it has to be credited. But we did not receive money. We cannot debit cash, but something need to be debited. So what need to be debited? We'll think from other point of view. To whom we have sold the building, that person will become our debtor, and his account need to be debited because he is the receiver of the good. So we say debit the receiver and credit the giver. Here it is our second rule. The third rule that we have is nominal. Now, nominal account is a temporary account. Why it is a temporary account? Because it cannot last so long. It is an account which is for very temporary period of time, and that is why this is called as temporary account. Nominal account consists of incomes, expenses, losses and gains. That means whatever income we have earned, whatever expenses we have to bear, whatever losses we are suffering, whatever profit we are making, comes under nominal account. So technically, this is something that cannot be seen in its own form. This can be seen with the help of something else. For example, rent received. Now, when we talk about rent received, can we see the rent? No. We can see the cash that we have received. We have received cash because we have received rent. So rent is an income to us, and that's why it is nominal account. Salary paid. Can we see the salary? No. We have paid money. That money can be seen, but salary cannot be seen. So salary, since cash is going out, need to be credited, and salary will be considered as an expense. So here the rule says debit all expenses and losses. That means whatever expense or loss we are facing, we are suffering, has to be debited. So if we say rent paid, salary paid, wages paid, stationery purchased, for these all we have spent some money on certain expenditure. So these expenditure need to be debited. But what if we have received this income? So incomes and gains need to be credited. That is, if we received rent, rent is an income to us, so need to be credited. If we received dividend, dividend is an income, so it need to be credited. In the same way, if we received commission, commission is an income, so it need to be credited. So let's take an example, rent paid. Rent because paid is an expense, so rent account need to be debited. Now when we have paid that rent, we definitely paid in the form of cash. So cash, since going out, it need to be credited. Vice versa, if we say rent received, so when received rent, that means received cash. Cash, since coming into the business, has to be debited, and rent being an income has to be credited. So the entry will be cash account debit to rent account, because cash received has to be debited, rent is an income, has to be credited. So this is all traditional approach is all about. The next approach is modern approach. This modern approach says that in accounts there are only 4 terms: assets, liabilities, expenses, and income. Liabilities, you just have to remember, as we have discussed in our earlier lectures also, that liabilities are of two types, internal and external. And internal liability is called as capital. Internal liability is called as capital. So basically, some people used to call it that modern approach consists of 5 things: assets, liabilities, capital, expenses, and income. Both the two are correct, because liabilities we have categorized into two: internal liability and external liability, that is outside liability and capital. So both are correct. Now just think technically, when we talk about business, business simply discuss the term money. Basically, business is started with the motive of earning money. So our main motive is to earn money. So what we just keep into mind is money. So just imagine, when cash is coming into the business, it becomes liability. If it is paid by businessman, internal liability. If it is paid through outsiders, external liability. So we can simply say that any cash which is coming into the business from businessman or from outsiders will either become our liability or become our income if we received cash, but we are not likely to pay something for that, so it will become our income. So modern approach says that cash when came into the business, it is coming only for two purposes: either it is coming in the form of liability which you need to pay later on, or it is coming because you have generated that income, that means you have earned that income. So when cash coming into the business, either it is coming for liability or it is coming for income. In the same way, when we pay cash, we either pay cash to generate some other asset, that is paid cash and received building. So we spent our cash on building. That means when cash is going out and we are generating another asset, that is building. So when cash goes out, it generates other asset, or else it is an expense. You go to a shop, you eat pizza. That pizza cannot be considered your asset because your pizza will be consumed by you within an hour. So since that pizza can be consumed by you in a very small period of time, it's an expense. So business says, accounts rule says that cash when goes out, either it generates another asset or it is an expense. So basically, business is all about cash, and hence if cash is coming into the business, you have to think whether liability is coming in or income is coming in. If cash is going out, you have to think that whether you have created an asset or you have spent that money. So totally you can say that you either have assets, liabilities, expenses, and incomes. And this can also be seen through traditional approach. Now assets, when come into the business, have debit. That means we say that assets always have debit balance. Asset always have debit balance. And since assets are having debit balance, when there is an increase, it need to be debited more. When there is an increase, it need to debited more. Simply, if something is debit, to add something to it, it will has to be debited more. But if we have to decrease that asset, it has to be credited, because positive is debit. So to make it reduction, we'll have to subtract, and subtraction can be done only through crediting. So, rule says asset when increase has to be debited, when decrease has to be credited. At the same time, your liabilities always possess credit balance. Now, since your liabilities have credit balance, whenever there is an increase in it, it has to be credited. Because liability increased, if credit balance has to be increased, it need to be credited more. And if you have to reduce it, it has to be debited. Because credit can be subtracted only by debiting. So liabilities when increase will has to be credited, and will decrease has to be debited. Same way expenses. Expenses, when expenses are having debit balance, because expenses, as you have seen in the case of nominal as well, they say that expenses and losses always having debit balance. So expenses, losses always having debit balance, so increase need to be debited and decrease need to be credited. And lastly, for income, incomes having credit balance, so any increase to income has to be credited and any decrease to it has to be debited. So if you can see here, liabilities and incomes have the same rules, and assets and expenses have got the same rules. So this is end of your rules of accounting, with which we can solve all journal entries in theoretical, your questions as well, and at the same time you can solve your business transaction entries as well. So study well. Thank you.